Eagle Community Television presents Community Connection with your host, Mike Cooper.
Welcome to Community Connection from Eagle Community Television. Thanks for watching. Today we're in the USD 489 Board of Education boardroom, and we're talking with the Director of Nutrition Services for District 489, Sheila Brening, as we talk about some of the changes, some of the guidelines, and perhaps some nutrition tips that our Director of Nutrition Services can give us in order to help our children enjoy better nutrition. Sheila, thank you for the time and for the visit today.
Certainly.
On our Community Connection. Tell me about the services offered on the nutrition services through USD 489.
Through nutrition services, we offer, of course, meals through the federal program, through USDA. Those programs include the National School Lunch Program, the National School Breakfast Program, the Summer School Food Service Program, the Child and Adult Care Feeding Program, the after-school snack program, and a new one for us this year, which is a fresh fruit and vegetable program.
These programs receive funding, the district that is, through some of the federal funding programs?
Yes, many of the, all of those programs are federally sponsored. We do, of course, also receive revenue, a small amount, very, very small amount, for lunches only from the state. And then we also receive income from paying students and adults, of course.
The district has provided the typical lunch menu, I think probably since the inception of school, but the breakfast menu was a new concept that has been, well, now several years old, but was a new concept at the time.
Yes, it's been in place, I'm guessing here, but it has been in place around 20 years. And it is mandated by the state of Kansas. However, although they mandate it, they do not provide any money for us, so we get no reimbursement from the state.
And in addition to that, you mentioned the after-school snack program. The overall concept of the program, Sheila, they're just basically designed to give kids a meal that they might not otherwise get. Is that a fair assessment?
Yes, the snack program is actually, as it says, a snack. The only school that we have involved in that program so far is Washington Elementary. There is a movement nationwide to make that snack into a meal now, because usually those schools that are really involved in the after-school care snack program are in severe need areas. That meaning a lot of the kids or the student population are free or reduced status. And so they're knowing that those families are more food insecure, they're starting to develop more of a meal, an actual supper instead of the snack.
Bottom line, Sheila, would be many times some of these children might not get a decent afternoon meal were it not for the provisions through USD 489 and other districts.
I think that's true of every meal we do. So breakfast and lunch, I think are very definitely high priority for a number of our families.
Sheila, just briefly, if you would, the numbers of students on average that you serve on a daily basis through USD 489?
We serve approximately 2,700 for lunch. Breakfast is closer to 500.
And what about the schools that are served in the district? Review those for us briefly, would you?
We offer services at Hayes High, Hayes Middle School, Lincoln, Wilson, Roosevelt, Washington, O'Laughlin. We also offer, do the service for the Munger Daycare. And we provide meal service for one of the other community daycares as well.
How many staff members does it take to pull this off on a daily basis, Sheila?
We have around 43, but 3 of those, 2 are here, myself included, are here in an administrative capacity, and one of the people is our food handler. So
One of the reasons that we wanted to talk with you is because coming this new school year in the fall of this year, there will be some new guidelines for the fall school term. Talk a bit about those, would you?
There are, yes. As a result of the Healthy Hunger Free Kids Act of 2010, USDA is putting in place, and I say is putting in place because it's still not finalized, but they are putting in place new guidelines for all of the meal service. And the new guidelines basically are expanding the amount of fruits and vegetables that students have a choice of taking, changing breads to whole grain, and doing some on sodium restriction. There are some definite changes, and they're happening this year. They're supposed to be effective like July 1, although we just had our training June 14th. They're supposed to be effective July 1 for lunch, and then next year effective for breakfast. So they're kind of giving us a year to get lunch in place.
Some of these, Sheila, it sounds like things that we as adults have been hearing about the necessity for on our diets, and these are now being translated to children's foods.
Yeah, the USDA is making these guidelines through the advice of the Institute of Medicine, as well as the U.S. dietary goals. And so the U.S. dietary goals affect every person, whether they're, a baby or a 90-year-old person. It doesn't matter.
And these are coming from professionals who have seen the problems that we've talked about in the past about increasing obesity among children, perhaps the lack of real strong nutrition directions in their lives.
Yes, they are scientifically based and are coming from a panel that is professionally oriented.
How long have you been doing this, Sheila?
This is my 35th year.
And you're still ready to show up for work every day.
I am. The new guidelines may do me in. We'll see.
That's terrific. Did you have training for the nutrition services position? I mean, was that your focus in your education background?
Well, it actually wasn't. I went to KU and received my bachelor's there, but then went to K-State and received my master's in institutional management and dietetics. So I am a registered dietitian and licensed. And then you develop from there, based on family life, your goals. And it became very apparent to me that school food service would be a really good place for me to be. And since then, I've taken continuing education all the time. Every year.
Because things change all the time.
Yes.
How do you manage the division of loyalties, KU and K-State? How can you pull that off, Sheila?
Well, if they're not playing each other, I'm for whichever Kansas school is playing.
I won't pin you down
Don't go any farther.
than that. That's as far as we need to go with that. What is the most challenging part of your job as Nutrition Services Director?
Well, this year it's going to be the guidelines, and a lot of that is because although we've been very proactive and we've been doing some of the things that they're suggesting for decades, literally 20 years or more, but they're changing what we have to do internally as far as how we do our menu planning, how we then buy food, how we bid out items, what our specifications have to be, how we document. And so since that turnaround is happening so fast, that's going to be a huge challenge for us. Now on the normal work side, personnel issues are always interesting, just trying to hire people in, and we do have places. that are going to need people this year, so put a plug in.
Is this a recruiting
Yes.
tool then? Is that what, all right.
People can apply at
So if
USD
you'd like a
489.
job,
Yes, you can go to
okay.
the website.
All right.
But that is always a challenge. So
Now, would this be, I mean, let's pursue this a moment. Would this be part-time, full-time, both, perhaps, either?
it's actually, well, it's considered more part-time. I don't think I have any 6-hour and over that are open right now. But it's an excellent position for anyone with a family, with children that are in school, because you can basically not have to be at work until 8 and you're done at 2, and that's before the kids get out, and they can go and have breakfast before when you're going to work. So it works out really well.
You're doing a great job of recruiting. The only thing you have
Thank
to
you.
mention is that website now.
Yeah, there you go. USD489.com, I do believe is what it is.
Sheila Brening is our guest today. Tell me about how parents and grandparents who might be watching us today, Sheila, can help with the nutrition of their children, grandchildren, along with the implementation by the schools.
A lot of the focus of the new guidelines is to increase fresh fruits and vegetable consumption, as well as any vegetable and fruit consumption, and moving more toward whole grain products, low-fat milk, of course, or skim milk. Those types of things can be put in place in any household. And you have to remember that kids actually eat the way the pattern is modeled to them. So if the parents and the grandparents are exhibiting good, healthy eating choices, then those are the choices that kids will make. Also, it's the parents who are buying the food that comes into the household. So they need to be cognizant of the fact that if it's there, the kids are going to eat it. So if there are certain things that kids shouldn't have as much of, then they shouldn't have as much of it available to them at the household.
Things that are easily available will be what the first choices of children generally are then.
Yes. So if you want them to eat more fruits and vegetables, then you need to have in your refrigerator some that are already prepared that kids can just grab and eat. Because if they have to peel a cucumber before they can eat it, chances are they aren't going to eat that. And if potato chips are available, nothing wrong with potato chips in limitation.
In moderation,
Yes.
right, as in all things.
Yes, but it's just a lot more convenient to open that sack and eat. So.
And as a parent or grandparent, you can't just say, eat your vegetables. You have to eat your vegetables as a parent or grandparent as well.
Exactly, and you need to be more adventurous. They need to be trying jicama. If they've never tried jicama, they should try it. Bring it into the household, peel it, cut it up.
I thought that was
and
a
it's
small
good.
town in Oregon, but it's not. Huh?
It could be,
Oh, okay.
but it's also
All right.
a vegetable.
Shows you how close attention I was paying in geography class, I guess, or nutrition class.
Or nutrition.
Speaking of that, is there nutrition education in the curriculum these days?
We do have nutrition education in the health curriculum, and it spans especially through the elementary schools and some at the middle school. The high school still does have a foods class, and so they learn some in that environment. But you know, eating is a life skill, and it really would make sense to have it available for everyone basically every year. The only thing is that it's not tested, so it doesn't come on the, on the high priority.
They haven't made a lot of room in the curricula for it.
No. And as an aside to that, another part of the whole obesity, childhood obesity issue is not just what the kids are eating, but the lack of exercise. And they've got to, because we've had to kind of cut some PE classes due to financial as well as testing piece. But it's very important for parents grandparents as well, to get those kids out there and move them around, make sure that they're actually getting some exercise and they're not just sitting down playing games on their computers or
They
whatever.
can't do it all in recess during the school day.
No.
It has to be some after-school playtime as well.
Yes,
Which
definitely.
involves movement.
That's definitely true.
And finally, Sheila, the question that many parents would ask is, how about costs in the coming fall term?
We are increasing the lunch price by a dime. So they will be, the lunch price for the high school will be $2.50, for the middle school it'll be $2.40, and for elementary it'll be $2.30. Breakfast costs will remain the same. They're $1.50 K through 12. The breakfast is served about a half an hour before school starts. Lunch, of course, varies throughout the district by school.
So basically, even with the increased costs of transportation and all of the implementation of the programs and things, a dime is the increased cost.
Yes,
It's a
and that's
remarkable value.
it is. It is an excellent value, and with the modifications that we're having to make, you know, they have been very vocal in the selling of the changes by saying that we're going to get 6 cents to do all of these changes. Well, the changes themselves are going to cost between 30 and 40 cents for us to make the change. So 6 really isn't a motivating factor. But we do try and keep the meal cost as low as we can to the students. And of course, we do have the free reduced applications that are available. They'll be going out to all of our past patrons from last year on the 19th, I believe, of July. And that provides either, if they qualify based on household size and income, that will qualify them for a free meal or maybe a meal at reduced cost. The reduced cost is 30 cents for breakfast and 40 cents for lunch.
And it's amazing on a day-to-day basis, the students that are served, the staff that you put in place, the work that you do as the director, and the fact that it does provide such a valuable service for many youngsters and sometimes adults in some of the programs that couldn't otherwise have a nutritious, regular scheduled meal.
And we do know that, as strange as it seems for many people in Hays, Kansas, we do know that we have a lot of kids that are not getting what they need at home. We have at least a third of our student population on free or reduced.
Talk to those people in many of the service agencies and you'll find out just what kind of a need there really is.
That's right.
Even in Hays,
That's right.
America.
I was talking to one of our Head Start people, and they had gone into a home. They do home visits, of course, and they were asking about things that they might have in the kitchen. And so they went to the cupboard and opened it, and it was bare. And they said, "Oh, you haven't had food this, you know, what's the deal?" And they said, "Oh, we were fine, but we ran out, you know, about halfway through the month." That's in Hays. So,
And what do you do then?
yes, exactly.
How do you face the next meeting?
Exactly. Exactly.
Sheila, thank you for your work. Thank you for your time and the service of you and your staff through USD 489, the Director of Nutrition Services. Our thanks to producer Jeff Durall, and thanks to you for watching Community Connection from Eagle Community Television.